Live with balanced news you can count on. This is News 4 at 4.
In today's 5-Minute Gardener, let's talk about summer bugs that damage our gardens. Our 5-Minute Gardener, Debbie Mounts from Harlow Gardens, tells us what to do to get rid of them.
It's summertime, it's hot, the monsoons have hit, and today I'm going to talk about something that is not quite so fun to talk about in our garden, which is a couple of our summer garden pests. I'm standing in our garden pharmacy at the nursery. We've got all these products to help you with things, but there's two pests I want to tell you about today. The first one I want to talk about is grubs. Oftentimes we'll get people coming into the nursery that will say they have patches in their lawn that have browned out, and no matter how much water or fertilizer they put on it, the grass just seems to continue dying. Often the problem is grubs. Certainly there are other problems, but grubs can certainly, at this time of the year, be a big part of the lawn problems. And a grub, all a grub is all those little beetles we get flying around in the summertime. Basically, the grub is the beetle larva. It lives just under the soil, usually only a couple of inches down, and it feeds on the roots of plants. That's why you get browning spots in your grasses, and you will sometimes see that on your bushes. Let's assume that this is a bush. You'll notice that this branch of the bush has suddenly started to brown out, and that's because the grubs down here are feeding on the part of the root system that is attached to this particular branch. So those are your grubs. They're not a lot of fun, and they're kind of ugly looking, as you can see down here. The second bug I want to tell you about today is called spider mite. Very common in the heat, not as common when the monsoons hits. They generally like it to be a little bit drier, but they still will stick around even in the monsoon. And spider mites, you'll notice on your plant that generally you'll get a leaf, and on the leaf surface it'll be kind of stippled and spotted, kind of like some of the color was sucked out of the leaf. It's just lost some of its color, and there's like this fine layer often of webbing on the plant. And sometimes what we recommend folks to do is take a white sheet of paper, take a piece of your plant and shake it on the paper, and then some of those spots that fall off start to crawl. Then you know you've got spider mites. Thanks for coming today.
That's a good way of testing that out.
Yeah, sometimes you can't tell, but if you have a white piece of paper and you shake the leaf, you stare at it for a second, and suddenly some of those dots start to move.
Yeah.
You go, oh, okay, I got
so you brought some medicine, huh?
I brought some medicine. All of the products I brought today are organic products. We're all really trying to do organics these days. This one is called Grub Beater. Unfortunately, though, as an organic, this is if you're going to use something like this, it needs to be on a program of prevention, because this product is only effective when the grub is in its very little first teeny tiny stages, and it's a little deeper down in the soil. So if you started treating your garden in areas that you know tend to be problematic with grubs, say in late March, and did it like every 6 to 8 weeks, then you would definitely be able to control them. Or lay it down on plants that you know have trouble with beetles in the summer, like Palo Verde trees, things like that. Often if you start treating them early, this will work really well.
And are grubs present everywhere? I mean, I don't know that I've ever had a grub problem.
You may not have ever had a grub problem, or it may have been so minute that you may have seen a plant that had a little bit of trouble, and it may have been 1 or 2 grubs, and it never really affected the plant enough for it to be an issue. But when you do have plants to start to do, all you do is dig down a little bit, because by then, if you're starting to see problems, they're big and they look like the one on that bag, and you're only digging down a couple inches to find them, and you'll find them right away if you do that.
And once they consume a plant, do they move to another one?
They can. They can move from plant to plant to plant if you let them, if you don't get them. They absolutely can do that.
And that's only a problem with stuff that's in the ground, not in potted stuff.
No, you can get grubs in pots too. They just like the soil. So it's not necessarily just things planted in the ground. So either way, you're going to get them. These 2 other products are products I brought, and these are more treatment for, you can use this neem oil for grubs also, but you have to makes it up as a soil drench, and trying to get it down far enough is a little bit problematic. But both of these products are organic, and they're oils. Both of them are oil-based, so they work by suffocating the critter, which is kind of an odd, it is interesting. So in other words, like chemical insecticides will work because the chemical reacts with the bug, but these actually just kind of put a little blanket over them and suffocate them, and that's how they work. This is one actually made locally. It's cinnamon oil and clove oil, thyme oil.
So I bet that smells pretty decent.
It smells really good. It's you could actually spray it in your kitchen and not be offended. So these products work really well. The only caution is in the summertime when you're using your organics, you want to use them in the evening after it's started to really cool off, because the oil can burn the plant. So use them in the evening, get under the leaves, and then wash it off in the morning.
Okay, good advice. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.